This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome into your work week. Wow. Matthew's Landscape and Pest Camera. There we go. Fix my volume a little bit there. Matthew's Landscape and Pest camera out towards Bossier. Beautiful blue skies and sunshine. Haven't seen this in quite a while. This came out a little bit yesterday afternoon, yes. But this is the first full day where we can say no rain, nothing but sunshine, and blue skies await us ahead for Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to you. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Again, beautiful blue skies, sunshine. Beautiful blue skies and sunshine to look forward to here for the day today. Again, this is not just the case for Shreveport and Bossier. This is for everybody around the Arklatex. So yeah, we're enjoying a pretty beautiful day here for our Monday. And guess what? For the rest of your work week, we're hanging around pretty good. All right. Let me start off by saying, first of all, again, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Thank you very much for joining us on First Alert Weather Breakdown. And first thing I always want to start off with for this episode in particular is Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to from those of us here at the KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Team. I think I can speak for CJ, Austin, and Matt in saying they'll have their time each. Specifically, Austin and Matt will be on the evening shows here tonight. Austin will be on the noon and 4. Matt will be on the 5, 6, and 10. Probably wishing you the same as well. But yeah, I have an uncle who served in the armed forces in the Navy. Also had an aunt who was briefly on as well, and also my grandfather too. All have had some time with the armed forces, and thank you guys again for your service as well. Yes. So I always want to start out with that, and the best thing I can do for you, at least locally in the Arklatex, is give you some good weather here for today for Veterans Day. I know most of those activities involve the outdoors, remembering those who have fallen before us. So just a little story to open up Vets Day as well. At my last job, I was both a weatherman, I was the meteorologist, and I was also reporting as well. I was doing both at the same time for like a job, obviously for a job, Evan. Like a dual job, so to speak. I did half weather, I did half reporting. And I always thought one of the most impactful stories I did was Veteran Day stories. Assemblies from schools, and also setting up flags in parks. That was really memorable for me. And yeah, it was really cool to get out there, especially with sunny skies, to be able to not worry about weather during that entire day with all those flags out there. Just made it the best of days, so to speak. So yeah, again, happy Veterans Day to all of you out there. Again, it's not just today as well. We'll be hanging around with nice sunshine, but over the next several days too, as well. So you can look forward to that. Overall, here's the docket here for today. We're looking at sunny skies and a nice substantial break from the rain. Finally, it's about time. We got a little rain coming here later this work week, but it's only a slight chance. We'll get to that in our local forecast, which is right after this. Well, we're also going to have a first alert look at the tropics. I wanted to do this first thing this week because heading into Friday and wrapping up the work week, we had some question marks on Rafael, where it was going, and it was weakening. We knew that, and I'll go ahead and say it's a tropical depression now, but we still have another system that could form in the Caribbean Sea. We're going to get to that latest on that as well, coming up on our First Alert Tropics. This will also be exclusive to this podcast as well. I didn't even go into tropics at all this morning on the morning show. So, yeah, just exclusive for here on the podcast. You get to listen to exclusive stuff. You get to listen to more of the nitty-gritty behind weather and what is exactly happening around the Arklatex. For today, not much concern. Finally makes my job a little, I guess, easier, so to speak. So let's go back out onto the Matthews Landscape camera we go. Overall, we are looking forward to, again, a sunny and beautiful Veterans Day. Get the bug out of the way. That's what we call this, by the way, the bug, the station bug in the bottom right-hand corner. There we go. You see my full face talking to you. Hi. So yeah, sunny, warm conditions here for Veterans Day. In fact, today is actually expected to be the warmest day of the work week, technically. The next 5 days. I guess I should phrase it better like that. We're going to cool down over the next 5 days, kind of taking a baby crawl each and every single day, but we're cooling down regardless each day. By the time we get into Friday, you could be looking at high temperatures only in the lower 70s. Feeling a little more like fall. We're going to do the same thing to those low temperatures. We'll be talking about that in just a bit. And we have a mostly dry work week ahead. The only exception to that will be on Wednesday. And first of all, we'll show you why that's happening here in the upper level pattern. Watch the low pressure out from the west. It's going to come over and roll into the central part of the United States by Wednesday. So yeah, that gives us a little chance of rain coming back into the Arctic here for the middle of this week. But it's a weak system. The first thing I can hit by that is already shown on this map. You see the jet stream? It kind of barely dips down with this system. Usually we see more of a defined trough and more of a deeper slide, essentially. That's the way I could, and steeper slide. That's the best way I can probably think about it. So yeah, usually we see steeper slides with more powerful and cold fronts that'll usually give us a good amount of rain and a good cool down. That's not happening with this system. Just a little tiny slope down with the jet stream here, which indicates overall, again, a weaker system. I mean, it's just a little tiny cool down and a little bit of rain. That's what I'm expecting from the system heading on into your Wednesdays. Yeah, rain chance is low, only 20% chance. We'll get into this coming up in our future track, and I'll see you what I'm showing here then. But then, rest of the week, high pressure sits on top of the Arctic. So yeah, besides that system all the way through Saturday, that's all we're dealing with. Just that 20% rain chance coming on Wednesday, and then all the way at least through Saturday, you're hanging around with sunshine and blue skies. Now, one thing to look at, that our 12-day forecast is very busy. Between days 8 and 12, there's a lot going on, it looks like, that's going to happen at the start of next work week. And even though but on this map it shows this Saturday on our upper level pattern, watch this low pressure system that's on the west side, west coastline right on this map at Saturday at 5 p.m. Notice how it's already dipping lower than that previous system that went through on Wednesday already did. It looks like it's settling here for the next weekend around the southwest corner of the United States. That's going to look to drag itself eastward, not northward. And the point I'm trying to get at is we're going to have a steep trough probably crashing into the Arctic at the first part of next week to bring us our next major chance of rain. We're talking about scattered and widespread rain, most likely returning Monday or Tuesday of next week. So just beyond that 7-day forecast. 7-day forecast, again, looking nice and quiet, but if you want to look forward to when rain, especially major chances of rain are coming back in the Arctic, that's likely going to be it. And also, that future track, or I should say that 12-day forecast behind that front, we could be seeing highs as low as the 50s for next work week. Next work week. Again, that's not this week. This week, we're nice and quiet on the future track, but still impressive regardless. I know. That's why I wanted to hint at really talking about that and hone in on talking about that. So, future track, we have more chances at some fog here for tomorrow morning, similar to what we saw early this morning. We did actually have a dense fog advisory early this morning, too, but that got released a little bit earlier than it was. It got canceled by the National Weather Service earlier than it was supposed to, actually, because our fog lifted earlier than we thought, which is nice. But fog is still possible again for tomorrow. That's what I'm trying to say. Tomorrow morning, that is. Tomorrow afternoon, more sunshine, more beautiful conditions, and then you see a hint of that rain coming in here. Probably late on Wednesday, you can see it coming from the east side. So it looks like it's going to creep up from Monroe and Alexandria and come up through Natchitoches, basically only across northwest Louisiana, it looks like here for the most part. Temperatures for today, upper 70s, maybe reaching up around 80 degrees. I would not be surprised to see highs topping up around 81 or 82 even today in Shreveport. Over the next 5, there's your cool down. It happens very tiny. Again, very tiny steps down each day, but hopefully by Friday, highs could be down to 72 degrees and overall highs in the lower 70s. Now, here's a peek at that 7-day forecast. 80 degrees here today. Nice sunshine. No rain for Veterans Day. That's what we like to see. Then, we got that slight rain chance coming on Wednesday. Again, 20% chance. Most of that's for northwest Louisiana. Then nice dry conditions in for your Thursday and Friday, and I'd probably also say Saturday too. Sunday, there's that little rain chance creeping in. 30% chance, but again, keep in mind, I'm expecting the actual cold front and most of the widespread and scattered showers and the main line overall to come through either Monday or Tuesday of the following work week. Also, temperatures are slightly increasing in front of that cold front as well, up to 78 for our high temperature coming this Sunday. And actually, I usually don't do this, but I'm gonna look at this 12-day forecast here with you, really quick before we go into the break, and then we'll talk about Tropics after the break. Here it is. So yeah, there we just saw the 12-day forecast, but watch the next 5 days after that. Again, nothing but rain chances Monday and Tuesday especially, and look at those high temperatures potentially dipping into the 50s, 50 for high temperatures. So it could really cool down, and we could get our coolest air of the season next week, middle of next week. So this is still way long down the road. We'll see if this changes. It might, but it's a good sign for those of you who want fall to come back and colder and sweater weather to come back. That's what you'll be looking forward to. I know this week is very quiet and still a little bit warmer than average, especially earlier in this week, and maybe even the next weekend too with a high of 78 still for Sunday, but there's your fall weather. It's at least in view. We'll see if it sticks around in that 7-day forecast the closer we get to that date. I meant to do this. Hello. All right, coming up, we have a look at the first alert Tropics, which thankfully has died down in the Gulf of Mexico. But we have another area of interest that's forming behind Rafael. Another one. And for almost middle of November now. I had to double check the date. Not going to lie to you. All right, coming up, we'll have a first look at your Tropics after just a 2-minute break. I'll see you after this. Alrighty, welcome back to KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason here with your exclusive content for this podcast, which today we are talking about Tropics first thing, because I wanted to see what happened with Rafael and kind of examine it, especially since I knew a lot was going to happen with this weekend. We knew it was going to weaken. We just didn't know where it was going to go, and we didn't know... amazing how we didn't know where it was going to go even in the short term. That was honestly the case. But what we did know, and what was most important about it, was we knew Rafael was going to weaken. Now, when we left it off on this podcast last Friday, hold up, I felt that coming. I felt a little, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details of my internal esophagus that just burped. Anyways, where was I? Oh, yeah, Rafael. So, yes, we knew it was going to weaken. When we left off this podcast last Friday, it was a Cat 2 hurricane. Cat 2 hurricane. And in a matter of just 24 hours, it turned into a weak tropical storm. And just within the 2 days, 2 past days since Saturday, it is now a tropical depression. It's barely anything. But regardless, we're saying first alert about your eye on the tropics because we have another area of interest that could potentially form. Yeah. So let's get straight into it. All right. Bringing up my graphics here. So yes, here at KSLA News 12, we have your first alert to tropics. Even if it's November, even if it's the tail end of the season. I mean, Rafael still did a number on Cuba. Again, it affected, sadly, their entire power grid went out, and it hit Cuba. Even though it's going to go down in U.S., probably not go, or I should say it will not go down in U.S. history for really doing anything. It still hit Cuba as a Cat 3 hurricane. I think people are still going to forget that. It still hit a Cat 3 hurricane in the month of November. So, wild. Wild on that. All right, so let's refresh you here on KSLA News 12, where we are again in the season. I think you get the point that we're at the tail end, literally the tail end of the season. The end of tropical season is officially the end of November. So just one last month, in fact, less than that. Just basically a half a month left to go through. Obviously, we went through Beryl back in July. There was Helene and Milton, which will probably go down as the 2 most famous storms of this season to hit the United States, both through Florida, and obviously all the catastrophic flooding in the west side of North Carolina as well continues to make headlines even today. That is wild to think about. Really cool, real quick. We did a Met chat with all 4 of us. Me, CJ, Austin, and Matt. We had so many different facts, and we basically just did a whole recap on Helene. I think we're going to do that with Burl in a future Met chat down the road when we're kind of recapping tropical season. I want to do that later on. But if you want to go see our recap on Helene, there was a few Met chats ago. That was a few weeks ago. You can go to again KSLA. It's on our KSLA News 12 app. You'll see the tab for First Alert with a breakdown. You can basically watch all the past episodes. It's pretty cool. And that episode just in particular was one of my favorites. Just to kind of toot my own horn there for a moment. All right, back to this forecast. So again, you get the point. Tail end of the season. This is a live look at Rafael, or I should say, what's left. It really disintegrated a lot over the weekend, and you can't even see any high cloud tops left from the system. The tiny little few cloud tops we see remaining could give rain showers on the very coastline of Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama. But yeah, that's all it's doing. It died in the Gulf of Mexico, which is a rare thing to see, but that's what the last cold front did to it. All the rain over this past weekend, that whole system wiped it away, wiped it out. It did not like it, and as I said, hurricanes need a calm atmosphere around them to form and to sustain themselves, and it got wiped out. This was textbook 101 on how to get a hurricane wiped out, essentially. So yeah, that's the live look at the remnants of Rafael in the Gulf of Mexico, which is now a complete ghost town, just about, in terms of tropics. But this is a look in the Caribbean, where we have another chance for something to form. And you can see all the convection now around, I believe that's the southern end of the Dominican Republic. I could be wrong with my Caribbean country there, but the point is this system and this group of clouds and clusters is going to be moving westward, and eventually it'll be looking to form around the western edge of the Caribbean. And look at the National Hurricane Center. They're giving the system a legit 40% chance to form. Just so you know, that chance to form was only 20% yesterday. So the chances of it forming are also on the rise, which is really, really impressive. Now, with this system moving due westward, I will say, and first of all, is why it's going to form in the western edge of the Caribbean. I don't see it going into the Gulf of Mexico long term as of right now. If it does form, it's likely going to form somewhere probably around Friday or Saturday of the end of this week. So still plenty of time to see if it forms, period, which is the first question I always ask. And again, it only has a 40% chance of doing so, which is actually less than still a 50-50 call. But if it goes in the Gulf of Mexico, I still think if it does, same thing's going to happen to it that what happened to Rafael. It's going to get absolutely torn apart. And not just by the wind shear. The cold temperatures have not been favoring any tropical systems either. Again, temperatures are in the upper 70s in the Gulf. You usually need temperatures well into the 80s to sustain a tropical system. So I'm going to remove myself out of the picture. This is not a future track on Tropical Storm Rafael anymore. I forgot to change that title. But this is just a look at the tropics period here over the next couple of days on this future track. And you'll see just that little cluster of convection slowly move westward from the Dominican Republic to below Cuba and the western edge of the Caribbean. And that's where it could form, right there. Again, look at the timetable, late Thursday into Friday when this could form. And even our future track heading into the weekend on Saturday, it looks like it has a little bit of spinning and a little bit of rotation to it. But for now, at least through the weekend, it still has that cluster kind of staying in place for the time being in the western edge of the Caribbean. Who knows where the heck it goes beyond that? That's still way long a ways because that's usually out from a week. But it still gives you a hint and still gives you the first alert that Tropics, sadly, still isn't done. And we still might be talking about this again next week. I hope you enjoyed the forecast on that. Again, you too, if you have any questions or if you want to just chat me up, or I'd probably say ask questions. If you want to ask questions about First Alert Weather Breakdown, you can chat it up in the live chat box, and I can answer it live. Pretty cool. All right. Coming up, we'll have a recap of this episode, and we'll look forward to tomorrow's episode. Hope you enjoyed a look at the tropics. Again, it's dwindling down. I still like our odds here locally in the Architects of us not seeing anything still at the end of the day, which is good news. All right, recap this episode coming up after this. Stick around, and I'll have a preview for tomorrow's episode as well, coming up after this. Welcome back to KSLA News 12, First Alert Weather Breakdown. All right, I actually got to get going. We actually have something on this stream, KSLA.com, in particular. We have something on the stream happening at 11 o'clock, and we got to get set up for that quickly. So I got to talk real quick about finishing up. That's what you're going to look forward to after this podcast ends, and that'll be coming up right at 11 o'clock. As for me, thank you very much, first of all, for watching. If you have a topic you want to send us, send it to us. Weather Breakdown at KSLA.com. You can also message any of us on Facebook. Meteorologist Evan Thomason. I promise I don't bite on my Twitter comments. Or, sorry, well, Twitter comments, you can include that as well. But also Facebook comments. I promise I don't bite. I can't bite through the screen. Yeah, so, anyways, I would love your input. Because as much as this is about me, it's much more about you guys at home. So thank you very much again for watching. I appreciate it very much. For tomorrow, that will be TikTok Tuesday with CJ Cartledge. CJ Cartledge will be back on the podcast here tomorrow morning. So you can look forward to that. on for your Tuesday. He'll have his latest TikTok content then, which he's still making in the works here today. And he always leaves it as a surprise for me coming up on Tuesday. So, yeah. Look forward to that. Again, see me. I will see you tomorrow at 10:30. Be there, be square, and be weather aware. I'll see you tomorrow, 10:30. Goodbye.